Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the weather warnings. We do still have scattered thunderstorms in places, and we still have some isolated yellow warnings issued with that at the moment. We'll then have a look at the UKV, look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as it's looking likely we'll see a proper plume of heat in towards the weekend, with temperatures perhaps through England and Wales rising into the low 30s on Saturday and Sunday. However, as we'll see in the longer range from the GFS, GM, Eastern WF and the ensembles, that hot spell is likely to end abruptly on Monday with a westerly flow returning, bringing us back down more towards average conditions, and some of the runs today are going really quite unsettled. Definitely was a bit of a bias a few days ago for some heatwave patterns to appear. We're definitely looking likely to see that through the weekend, but not really sustaining themselves, with more of the jet stream powering back up, giving us a bit more unsettled conditions, something we haven't seen in a number of weeks. We've seen thunderstorms, we've seen areas of rain, but they're more isolated areas of instability within the generally hot, humid air mass. This is a proper unsettled spell, perhaps arriving with weather fronts and proper deep areas of low pressure, perhaps making a bit of an appearance towards the end of June. So we'll have to see what those runs do show at the end of the video, but they're not looking likely to continue this warm and dry weather that we are going to be experiencing the next few days into the weekend. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. I've had a lot of scattered thunderstorms over the last sort of 24 hours in places. A lot of pop-up storms where 10 miles away it's a beautiful day or beautiful evening, but in that area within the storms, lightning, torrential rain. And we're seeing a very similar pattern once again this afternoon. You see parts of eastern Scotland got some severe storms breaking out near Aberdeen and up towards the northeast coasts. Got a few thunderstorms breaking out across parts of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, but again, fairly isolated. The rest of these regions seeing nothing at all, and the same across England and Wales. A line, perhaps a bit of a convergence line appearing there, or a few heavy showers, and maybe some isolated torrential patches within this, and the same across parts of southwest England too. But elsewhere, reasonably dry, reasonably sunny, and another generally quite warm and humid day. Now, to put on the temperatures, as around just before 4 p.m, another generally warm day, dark orange is appearing. Definitely in from the east, with that wind direction coming from a more southwesterly direction at the moment. It does mean that east is always going to be best, and here you can see temperatures widely in the mid to high 20s. As said, towards the weekend, could be getting towards 32 or 33 degrees on Sunday. That's definitely what the UKV is suggesting. So yeah, we'll be hotting up the next few days, peaking through the weekend. Now, if we also do have a look at the past 24-hour precipitation, we'll be able to look at how much rain has fallen for radar estimates. You can see how we've got this really scattered nature of storms. It looks like a storm broke out just to the north of London, a line of storms from southwest England, some storms through parts of the Midlands and Wales, and further storms across parts of Scotland, and perhaps the biggest storms across parts of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. But again, very close by to some of these darker regions or yellow regions, seeing very minimal rain at all. Just showing you the scattered nature of these storms, and you can see the way they're lining up, the wind direction coming in from the southwest. And if we look at the weather warnings, we do have 2 yellow warnings at the moment for eastern and northeastern regions. Again, we are seeing some scattered thunderstorms. This does expire at 6 p.m, so about an hour or two after this video is published. So still could be some risks this evening, high likelihood, but lower end of the impact. So not particularly likely to see anything too severe, but likely to see sort of moderate level storms of 30 millimeters in 2-3 hours, maybe some hail and lightning. And most of these showers are expected to die out in the late afternoon or evening. Got other warning down towards southwest England, expires at 7 p.m. Again, high likelihood, lower end of the impact. Again, 20 to 30 millimeters in 1 or 2 hours, and again, mostly will die out during the early evening. So once again, warnings issued for the risk of some big storms, but nothing too crazy, nothing like what we saw on Sunday or what we've seen in sort of the last 10 days in general. We have had a lot of severe storm outbreaks with yellow and amber warnings issued. No warnings issued beyond this, but there could be some more warnings in the next day or two. Snap warnings issued in the morning, as there is going to continue to be a few showers and storms around in the next sort of 48 hours or so. If you look at the UKV now, you can see through this afternoon those showers and storms breaking out. Again, UKV doesn't actually really pick up on any single spot, quite wide spread showers here, but of course, nearer the time they have focused in the east of England and east of Scotland and southwest England. As we head into Thursday, another generally dry morning, but then a few showers could pop up during the afternoon, and once again could see some localised warnings, but again most of these showers just look heavy, but nothing too torrential, nothing too stormy. As we head into Friday, we're starting to see that change from the Atlantic starting to make a bit of an influence. It's going to get held off, and it helps bring up that really hot air for the weekend, but western regions could get peppered by quite a bit of rain. So through Friday afternoon, we do see some heavy rain, perhaps through parts of northern England, Scotland, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. For most of England and Wales stays drier, but a bit more cloudy appearing here through the evening. As we head into Saturday, that weather front eventually moves away, but doesn't make a lot of progress eastwards or southwards. So the area of instability, the area of cooler air moving in, is going to remain through parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland here could see quite a few showers, and again, could see some storms within this. So Saturday afternoon will be a very hot day to the south and east of this area of showers. And as we head into Sunday, another substantial area of rain, but once again comes up against that hot air, doesn't quite remove it. And by Sunday afternoon to the east of this weather front, again another very hot day, even underneath it still relatively humid and hot, but some heavy showers and storms breaking out further northwards. But finally into Monday, that cooler air has swept in for all, and we are likely to be seeing much cooler conditions through Monday, perhaps those temperatures back down to the low 20s or high teens. This could be well reflected on the 850 HPA temperatures. The hotter air starts to arrive through Friday afternoon, 10 to maybe 11 degrees at 850 HPA. Saturday afternoon, maybe 12 to 14, and finally by Sunday in the Far East, 14 to 16. Again, it will be very interesting to see exactly how this does progress, how far eastwards this cool air does sweep in on Sunday, and how quickly, as that will decide if areas see 33, maybe 34 degrees, or if they see low to mid-20s. If we do put on actually, just to finish that run, you can see the cool air does sweep in for all down to also 3 to 5 degrees at 850 HPA average, even perhaps touching below average in a few spots. If you look at the max temperatures here, you can see this afternoon widely low to mid-20s, perhaps peaking at 24 or 25 degrees, but it's pretty warm and humid out there, so it can feel a bit more oppressive than that. Into Thursday, temperatures will start to rise slightly higher, perhaps temperatures as high as 28 or 29 in the London region, with even hotter humid air starting to waft up from the south. In towards Friday, temperatures could rise slightly higher, more widely, sort of 25 to 27, locally again 28, maybe 29 in towards London, and Saturday get almost touching that 30 degree point through central and eastern regions, widely 27 to 29, and you can see into Sunday a very hot day, widely around the lunchtime period of 30 to 32 degrees through southern and eastern regions. Again, could locally reach 33 or 34, but very widespread hot conditions here. But in the east, down sort of the spine of the country eastwards, we'll be seeing widespread hot conditions. To the west of that will be cool. Again, I must say that this is sort of 4.5 days away, so the likelihood of happening exactly like this is quite low. There's a lot of uncertainty with the exact positioning of the hot air and the weather fronts, so it could shift westwards at 3 p.m, it could shift eastwards. As I said, unknown whether this really could be widely 30s or whether mid or to low 20s with that weather front sweeping through quicker. We'll have to update that nearer the time. But that cool air will be sweeping in forward, you can see by 3 a.m. on Monday, down towards the low teens. No more oppressive temperatures. For example, 3 a.m. on Sunday, 20 degrees in London. 3 a.m. on Monday, dropping by 5+ degrees, down towards the mid to low teens. Most areas around that 10 to 12 degree range. So if you have a look at the longer range, we'll be able to see what happens after that hot air is getting swept away through Sunday evening. You can see low pressure gathering out of the Atlantic at the moment, but it helps draw up that hotter air over the coming days. But as you can see by Sunday evening, cool air does get swept in off the Atlantic and low pressure starts to tumble in. Again, nothing too substantial. We're not absolutely dominated by low pressure, but jet stream powering up, and it's more of a westerly flow, meaning slightly cooler air masses. Still be warm, it's summer, but not quite as warm and oppressive as a southerly flow. There'll probably be more cloud and more showers with that general wind direction coming in from a westerly instead of a southerly. as we do head into the longer term. And right, 384 hours, we could see a bit of an extension of the Azores high. But you look at the upper air temperatures, because it's coming in from the west, hot air is left well to our south, and very hot air that's built across southern Europe. Instead of the hot high pressure system sat over us, building that heat, it builds it further southwards. So it keeps the hot air at bay for now, but if we did draw up a southerly or southeasterly wind, we could go hot very, very quickly. So we'll have to see what happens, but GFS definitely more inclined to bring average conditions in from the west. Again, it wouldn't be anything too bad. Again, we look at the 2 metre temperature here. Likely to see temperatures around the low 20s, 20 to maybe as high as 25 degrees. So not cold, but nothing as hot as it's been recently. And the big difference is with the westerly flow, widespread unsettled conditions. Again, not ridiculous, not seeing hundreds of millimetres of rain like you'd probably see in the winter from this sort of pattern, especially for parts of Scotland, but widely sort of 1 to 2 inches of rain over the next couple of weeks. So nothing crazy, but again, still rain around for many, won't be bone dry, big shower risk on most days, and of course there'll be the risk of weather fronts, so more substantial areas of rain as well. If you now have a look at the GM, see how that does compare. Again, low pressure moving in through the end of this weekend and beginning to dominate as we head into next week, especially in northern and western regions, and right towards day 10. You can see big low pressure building up towards Iceland, look like it's spiralling in towards the UK, and the upper air temperatures once again around average with all that hot air staying to our south. You can see the temperature deviation actually slightly below average here, but generally temperatures would still be around that 20-degree mark or so. But yeah, not looking great, looking quite unsettled. Look at the precipitation through this. You can see big weather fronts and big areas of rain forming out in the North Atlantic towards Iceland, all heading our way. And again, look at the accumulated precipitation. Haven't quite reached the unsettled weather in the far southeast here, but from further northwards and westwards, still a lot more rain moving in. And this would be more widespread once that low pressure system does tumble in. So GM slightly different to the GFS exact positioning of low pressure, exact positioning of the heavy rainfall, but in agreement of low pressure replacing high pressure with more of a showery regime with longer spells of rain and generally cooler conditions. If you look at the ECMWF, again, southerly winds moving in this weekend, eventually gets pushed away by the low pressure off the Atlantic all the way to day 10. We are firmly close to this low pressure system spiralling out towards Iceland. We're actually bringing in pretty cool air with that strong northwesterly wind. Again, not quite reaching the UK here, but good 4 to 6 degrees below average just out in the North Atlantic. Again, we wouldn't be that cold, but we would be fairly unsettled. Strong gusty winds appearing here. A lot of showers and potentially longer spells of rain, not looking particularly great. And again, you could look at the accumulated precipitation here, much more widespread rainfall for the North Atlantic and the United Kingdom and the British Isles in general, as we do have more weather fronts and areas of instability moving in from the west. If you finish by looking at the ensembles, you can see this very well reflected, generally warm, if not quite hot, over the next 5 days, peaking through Saturday and Sunday from about 48 hours or so. Then we do see an abrupt drop. Again, not all ensemble members going for as an abrupt drop as the operational run for the GFS was going, but most go down more towards average, and in the long term, we're generally around average, maybe a degree or two above for majority. But again, there are some very cool outliers and equally some very hot outliers as well. Some of these hot outliers were having more support a couple of days ago, but now less so, with more generally around average conditions. Again, precipitation is picking up, but still, because London is furthest away from the low pressure system really in geographical location, we're always going to have lower precipitation than most other regions, but still precipitation picking up. Nothing too crazy, but definitely not as dry as it's been recently, sort of over the last month or so. You can also see the temperatures will be dropping. Again, nothing cold, but more towards the low 20s, not these sort of mid to high 20s consistently that we've seen recently, and likely to reach the 30s this weekend. Back down towards the low 20s, so some would argue much more pleasant conditions. But others will be a little bit disappointed, as some people have holidays booked, will have schools breaking up in the next few weeks. Hopefully we do see the return to more traditional summer-like conditions. We don't see this westerly wind prevail. And a good thing is having a look at the dew points. The dew points are reasonably high. They do drop down by a few degrees into the longer term. And again, that doesn't sound like a big difference, but it just means the humidity is going to be lower and it's not going to feel quite as oppressive out there. with the dew points dropping back down towards sort of 10 degrees instead of sort of 14, 15 degrees like they've been recently, and will probably be over the coming days. We even saw dew points up towards 19 or 20 degrees in the past week or so. So yeah, definitely going to feel less oppressive with this sort of pattern. And finally, just looking at the ECMWF ensemble members, again, hotter spike towards this weekend, up towards 14, 15 degrees, 850 HPA, and then a sudden drop from the majority of ensemble members, and we stay around average, hovering above and below for the full super future, and a lot more precipitation spikes. Again, nothing too substantial, but perhaps the more prolonged areas of rain, the weather front's not quite reaching the south and the east, but still areas of showers and instability getting pushed in off the Atlantic, so yeah, going to be unsettled at times. There are still some hot runs appearing here. Again, outliers now. Definitely had some more support a few days ago, but there's sort of 2, 3, 4 runs, maybe here getting up towards the high teens or 20 degrees again. Those would be pushing the mid-30s, but unlikely to see that prevail at this stage with the majority back down towards average. But as we saw from some of those operational runs, the hot air doesn't disappear. It just sits in us towards our south, sort of continues to heat up, continues to stay dormant, sort of over its origin down towards the Mediterranean, North Africa. So if we did see a sudden southerly wind, which is very possible this time of year, whether it's transient, like we're kind of seeing this weekend with a hot push of air for 48 hours, or whether it is more sustained within an area of high pressure, regardless of how it comes about, there's some very hot air to our south to tap into, so it can change very quickly with a sudden change in wind direction. So hot weather is not disappearing, but from the latest runs, it's looking like we're taking a bit of a sleep over the next, as we head into next week, perhaps for a week or so. We'll have to see what happens. Still, things could change, but definite trend more towards cooler conditions next week, but still a good 5 more days of a bit more oppressive, warmer, and perhaps hotter conditions towards this weekend to get through. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you stay safe out there in the heat. And of course, further northwards and westwards, there'll still be a decent risk of heavy showers, maybe some storms as well. Nothing too substantial, but still a decent risk. So do, as I said, stay safe out there. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you again for another video soon.